Wildlife Refuge actually consists of 28 acres. It is owned by the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks. And on the acres, we have approximately 200 head of bison and 80 head of elk. The Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks owns the whole park, but the Friends unit, the Friends organization, we give tours all year round. So we're here to represent the Friends of Maxwell, and the Friends of Maxwell is actually a nonprofit organization. We work with the State Department, but we are nonprofit, like I said. So the only way that we stay afloat is by having tours, donations, and we're always looking for volunteers. This is a little picture of when you come into the tour center. This is the front of our little tour center. The Friends group started in 1993 and has grown significantly since. So these are just a few little pictures that we captured actually last weekend, well, a couple of days ago. Since COVID is over, not only are you guys, everybody getting more involved, we're also opening up more tours, and we're trying to build the tour center, but we definitely are in need of more volunteers. And so we're going to go ahead and start our presentation off with a quick video. It's about 4 minutes long that's going to show you guys a little bit about what Maxwell Wildlife Refuge has to offer and the events that goes on throughout the year.
Hi, my name's Tricia, and I am the director here at Friends of Maxwell. I'd like to welcome you guys to the best opportunity in the Great Plains, Maxwell Wildlife Refuge. With 2,600 acres of native prairie, 200 bison, and 60 elk, plus deer, coyotes, beavers, and birds, this is a terrific place to see what makes the Great Plains special. Climb aboard. Let's see what we can find.
Events at Maxwell offer something for everyone, from educational tours for school groups with discounted pricing to a chance to see and experience the prairie. Docents explain the history of the refuge, also about the plants and wildlife, as well as the geography of the mixed grass prairie of North America as it was hundreds of years ago. For the horse owner, we offer 6 trail rides every year, spanning the seasons. Bring your horse and enjoy a great ride on the 2,000 plus acres. In the spring, nothing is more fun than watching the newly born bison calves running around, exploring their environment and hanging close to mom. The youngsters, known as red dogs because of their color, are born in April and May, with occasional late arrivals showing up in June. With 2 wildflower seasons, spring and fall, tours are scheduled to hit the peak colors of each. With volunteers from the Kansas Native Plant Society as guides, these outings have proven to be very informative and popular. Specialized events for photographers are scheduled year-round. In spring, sign up for our Babies and Wildflowers tours for a chance to not only experience the red dogs, but also the opportunity to photograph colorful spring wildflowers. We also run a photo tour for fall wildflowers. Photographers also get a chance to be out on the prairie with the buffalo during sunset. Sunset outings are generally scheduled in the fall. Please check the website for details. By far, the most popular of the photo tours are the 2 Saturdays in winter known as FYBO, or Freeze Your Buns Off. For these winter tours, the plexiglass sides are removed and we get to experience the bison and elk in their winter environment. These FYBO outings usually sell out within a week of being announced. Watch for them on the website and sign up. Photo tours, while more expensive, do afford the photographer a longer session out with the wildlife on the prairie. Every year, usually in early November, the Kansas Wildlife and Parks Department schedules a bison auction at the refuge. Because of the finite carrying capacity of the acres available, they use this opportunity to thin the herd. The public is invited and can stay and purchase a bison burger lunch. For a truly unique experience, attend the Mountain Man Rendezvous every fall. This 3-day event brings reenactors to Maxwell who spend those days demonstrating the skills and equipment needed to survive beyond the frontier in the 1840s. History comes alive for the whole family. Additionally, tram tours are available throughout the 3-day event. End your year with our authentic Christmas on the Prairie. Take a tour onto the prairie in our covered trams, then return to the center for hot drinks and cookies. Gather around the period-decorated tree and listen to stories about the lives of the pioneers. This is a very popular event and sells out quickly. Come out and see why Maxwell Wildlife Refuge was selected as one of the 8 natural wonders of Kansas.
Very good. So, as the video said, we have many events. So our next event that is coming up is at the end of September, September the 23rd through the 25th. That is our Mountain Man Rendezvous. And we are surrounded by wonderful volunteers. So one of our mountain men volunteers actually came with us. So I'm going to introduce him next, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about what the rendezvous consists of, okay? Help me welcome Tom Nestor.
Thank you, Tricia. I started out, I'm Tom Nestor. I'm a Haverano with the American Mountain Men Association. That means that I fulfilled 20 requirements that I have to do for advancement. You start out as a pilgrim, you work into a bushloper, and then you work into a Haverano. Anyway, that being said, I started rendezvousing probably 25 or 30 years ago, going to just different local events. Maxwell was probably one of my first rendezvous that I went to, and I fell in love with it, and we've continued to go back and enjoy it ever since. The gear that you see that I'm wearing has all been researched it's all documentable from 1820. Everything is hand sewn. The leather is brain tanned, which means it's homemade. That I skinned the deer, skinned the antelope, I tanned the hides, I did it all myself. The sewing was done by myself. I'm not a very good seamstress, or seamster, I guess it would be, but it's passable. I generally carry a Lancaster rifle, a 54 caliber, and I carry a Lancaster pistol, which would have been available to a mountaineer in 1820, 1826, in that time period. That's where I try to be. The stuff that we do, I travel all over the country, but Maxwell's always been one of my favorites. This year, for instance, I've been to Nevada in the Great Basin. I've camped in weather we started out with 70-degree weather and ended up with 8 inches of snow. So, and then just a few weeks ago, we were in Wyoming around South Pass and camped at 8,000 feet and had a good time there. Saw bear. Bear came through camp. We had a lot of fun. So if you guys want to see something that's educational, come out to Maxwell on the 23rd, 24th, 25th and take a tour. And See what goes on. There'll be Rocky Mountain colleges where you can learn about how to brain tan. You can learn about how to run ball. The skills that were necessary for these men when they left St. Louis, they were on their own. And they were on their own till they got back to St. Louis. So come out and take a look and see what you see. You may learn how to start a fire without a match. You learn how to tan a hide. Learn how to set a beaver trap. All kinds of stuff to do. Fun stuff. Bring your grandchildren, your children. Have fun. Questions about what you see? Anything on my gear that you see that I'm wearing that you want to know more about? I must have been all right.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. So, as he said, it starts the 23rd. It is free admission to get in. We are offering tram rides for 4 hours each day, starting at 10 a.m. until the last one's at 2. Well, it starts at 1 until 2. We may, depending on how many people are there, we might extend that to another one at 2, but sometimes it's kind of difficult to hold the buffalo all in for a great tour, but we do get you right in the middle of the buffalo. One of the things I wanted to add to Tom's little presentation, he said something about fire starting. What do you guys think is one of the major and the main tool or
Flint and steel or a bow drill.
or what else did they use that is on the prairie now for fuel?
Oh, well, dung, buffalo dung.
Yes, and that's one of our major things, and so we had to try that out. I had to try it out right when I got there, and you know, one little buffalo chip will burn for 3.5 hours. Of course,
It works well. I've made breakfast and morning coffee over buffalo chip fire.
and no stink and no smoke. It's very interesting. There's so much going on out at Maxwell, so much history and information, education. It's just awesome. But so let me go ahead. I don't know where we're at with time, but we have another volunteer here who has actually, he's so talented. He actually put together our presentation. He is one of our main volunteers for as far as photography goes. And he is going to teach you guys a little bit about our photography tours and what all that consists of. So help me welcome Mr. Jim Griggs.
Is this working okay? Can you hear me fine? No? Yeah. You know what I sound like because you're married to me. All right, I'll just hold it up here. Is that better? All right. One thing about Maxwell, we moved here in 1993, and it was the same year the tour center opened. And I went out there. Within 2 weeks of moving to Kansas, I went out on a tour. Nobody in our town knew about it except me, for some reason. But we went out and took a tour. I took some photos out there. And, everybody thinks it's fenced in, so it's the animals are tame or something because they're enclosed. This is a little video that I shot. Yeah, they run pretty fast and they're pretty strong. These bulls are when they get into a fighting mood. But the original tours all ran at 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays, and I'd go out there at 10 o'clock. And if you're a photographer, any photographers in the group, 10 o'clock's terrible. The light's awful. I wanted to go there early in the morning, late in the afternoon. I kept begging, can we go earlier? They said, how about 9:30? I said, no, I'm talking about early, But nobody wanted to do that. So you end up with photos that are okay. And I call them snapshots. They're not real photogenic. Even if you take them into Photoshop and boost things about them, make it a little better. If it's overcast, they turn out better because the buffalo are like black holes. They just absorb light, and you end up with either they're black or the grass is white, or you get them exposed right. It's just a tough deal to do. I went out there a couple of times from the road. If you drive through, you can see some of the animals occasionally. This is one of the very first bison photos that I took, or buffalo shots that I took. This is at sunset, and I really liked it. I made a print made, and I gave it to the refuge, and they ended up putting it up on the wall, and then they sold it, so I made some more. I did this one from the road as well. It was a snowstorm, light snow with an elk. They sold that one, and I kept saying, I want to go early in the morning or late in the afternoon when you got good colors and things are beautiful. And the lady who was running the tourist center by then kept saying, well, how early do you want to go? I said, I want to go real early. I want a shot like this. She said, well, you already got it. And I said, this is fake. I did this in Photoshop. So I put together a sunrise, and I put together the bison, and I silhouetted it down. I want the real thing. So all of a sudden, she needed to raise some money to put in a storage building for all the equipment, and needed to raise a lot of money. And I said, I can do it in 2 weekends if you'll do early trips. She said, how are you going to do that? So I'm going to invite photographers, and I'm going to charge them $25 a piece instead of $8. She said, nobody will pay that. I said, bet me, try it. Try me. So she said, okay, we'll do it. I want to start tours at 6 in the morning. So she said, all right, we'll do that. And I sold out 3 trams for 2 weekends in a row, January and February. We raised the money. I told her I'd pay up whatever she was short. If we came in short, I raised more money than she thought we'd ever be able to do with the photographers. And this is actually after we'd been out for a while, coming back in, the lady in the middle basically told me I just about froze my buns off. And so that's how we came up with the term FYBO outings. It's just a little easier to say. That day it was 7 degrees with 15-mile-per-hour winds, and we're out there for 90 minutes taking photographs. And why do we do that? Because we get shots like this. And like this. And there's no other way to get them. You have to take these tours out there with us. These early sunrise tours are amazing. With the elk, even the fog down in the trees. I mean, I put one of these, a couple of these on Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation on their Facebook page. I had hundreds of people ask me, wow, where did you take that? I said, Kansas. I said, no, really, where did you take that? I said, Kansas. Nobody believes me. I have a friend that came all the way from Colorado to go into FYBO. She took one photo out there. She's in galleries all over Colorado. Guess what's her number 1 selling photo? Taken at FYBO in Kansas. So, all right, it's our way to get back at Colorado people. And one of the things that I started doing is I volunteered out there because I found out I get to drive the tram, or I get to ride out there. I can go out almost anytime I want to go. So volunteering is a good thing to do. I'll just show you a few more from these early morning outings. And it can get pretty cold. This is snowing out there, but we just toughen up and stay out and shoot. Did I mention volunteering? This actually was from a 4K video that I shot out there that ended up being on Wichita News, this snowstorm. This lady her face is all snowed up because she's been digging around getting to the grass. We have a feed truck that we use to maneuver the animals, get them where we want them, and that feed truck has a certain banging noise. The old one did. I recorded that so I could play it back on my own truck when I drive through, and they'd come to me. So I had these guys coming to me in the snow. And tricks of the trade. I'm not supposed to tell them I do that, but a lot of people, most people think the elk were mountain animals. No, they were plains animals for a long time before they were wiped out by the settlers. This is taken from the road. I mean, used the slow shutter speed to get the snow blurring, so it looks like it was cold. It was cold, believe me, but it looks colder. Coyote walking across the dam at the little pond that's there. And then we do. This is sunset tours. We just did one Saturday, right? Sunset tour on Saturday. And then I just got some shots of the big herds out there, 200 animals. Doesn't sound like a lot when you got the elk and the buffalo out together. It's kind of a nice thing. And then we do the babies and wildflowers. This is in the fall. And this beautiful colors out there when the grasses start changing. This is spring. Mother and a baby. Another sunset shot. This one's from 2 years ago at a sunset outing we did. And then we had a film crew from New York that came in to do us. They wanted to do some video out there, so I was asked to go out and kind of use the walkie-talkie and control everything to make sure it happened. This is a shot from that video shoot. And then we've also do just like another one of the wildflower tours in the spring, and this lady happened to come out with her son. I just thought this was a beautiful thing to see, that introducing her son to photography, and he's out photographing the flowers. So I would say, if you can't volunteer, donate, right? We could always use the money to keep the place going. If you want any information, reservations, I'll leave it up there for a while. You can write that down about where to call, where to email. And we have some cards. I'll show you that because the same information's there in the back. And that video that we showed on here, unfortunately the sound wasn't quite right because the volume control is back there under lock and key, and the guy's sick today that has the key. So we had to kind of wing it a little bit. But that little scan code there, you can scan that with your phone, and you can actually watch that same video again that we just showed earlier. Anybody have any questions about photography out there? Yes.
We went out there a couple years ago. It was in midsummer, and it was in the afternoon. And you could see baby buffalo on yonder hill. So when you have a time that you feed those with your truck, and during the day or during the week, where you know that would be the time to go out there.
Well, what they basically do is take the truck to where they are and feed them there. Yeah. And the tours, we take feed truck out. You know, when I first started going out there, they take the feed truck out, drop food, cubes, range cubes, and then we get out there to take pictures. They all got their face down in the grass, eating. So I kept saying, don't feed them until we get through it. Just take the truck out there and tease them a little bit. We get them walking around and looking around, and then you can feed them. So they would always feed them afterwards. But yeah, on the tours, the truck is always out there, and we try to bring them to the vehicles, to the roads, the back roads that we use. So we get them close.
Do you mind if I say something?
No, go ahead.
So another answer to your question is, the buffalo, we don't feed the buffalo every day. They actually graze off of the prairie. And the only times that we actually feed them, and we're only feeding them a treat, mind you. It's a little treat. It's a little pellet that consists of molasses and alfalfa, and that is only to lure them to the trail so that we can have a great tour. During the winter, when everything's dormant, then the caretaker out there, he actually will give them 2 pounds of those protein pellets every day per head, 2 pounds per head every day. And he does that. And he is an employee with the state. And then when we have a tour, the Friends group, the volunteers there, we are allowed to do that during the winter time. Does that clarify your okay? Uh-huh. That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. If you come out to the prairie, you'll notice that the prairie is actually really green. Really green, and that is the reason for that is the root system on the grasses and the prairie. They go underneath the surface anywhere from 12 to 20 feet. Well, we also have a source of water out there that never dries up. I think it's spring-fed, right?
There's a lot of springs on that
Yes.
area. There's a lot of springs. And we, as 2,800 acres for that many head, they rotate that stuff off, and they have a program right now where they're doing summer burns where they control the brushy growth of the vegetation that's, the plum bushes and the sumac and that sort of stuff. They've been burning a third of that every year for the last couple of years. So next year we'll burn our last third of the prairie. So they try to keep, the stalking rate down to where even at a drought year you're going to have enough feed. So you don't have to really supplement them except for wintertime with those cubes.
Tom, there's another option too. If we could get everybody to move back to Europe and take down all the fences, we'd be fine. Okay.
Well, I've always said that the elk and the bison were all plains animals, but so were the grizzly bear. So maybe we should just bring a couple of grizzlies in and turn them loose, and we'd have control and everything else.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Yes, of course. So the bison, they all grow a winter coat around December or January, and actually some of them still are trying to shed some of them even today. But as they're shedding, they'll shed from their shoulder back, and the hair that is on from their shoulder to their nose stays on all year round. So that's kind of a good example right there. Did that answer your question? Okay, and we have great examples of those when you come out to the tour center. You can feel the hair on the head is real coarse, the ones on the shoulder is real soft. And also at the rendezvous, they have different examples of how that fur was used and made and what they used it for. So I wanted to also let you guys know about the refuge. It's open 24/7. Okay, there's one main gravel road that travels through Pueblo Road. There are 2 spots on the refuge that are open range. That means that the wildlife can cross at any time that they want. Now, sometimes maybe when you said you were out there a couple of years ago, they were out by the fence line. Bison cannot be herded around like cattle. You pretty much do what they want to do. They do what they want to do. But that means if they're in the road, they'll stay in the road when you go through. You kind of got to go around them. And in the open ranges, there are signs that are stating, for safety precautions, please do not get out of your vehicle, like at Yellowstone. I don't know. That's just silly to me. But anyway, there are 2 sections of the refuge that are open range, so it's a 50-50 chance that you get to see wildlife when you are going through without a guided tour. But as you know, the Friends group, they have actually, they're trying to, John Maxwell, the founder of the refuge, had donated the whole prairie to the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks, and we are there to extend his wishes and his will to the public. That's what he wants, is the whole public to be able to be a part of the refuge and see this very hidden gem in Kansas. So if you guys haven't been out there, you've got to come out and test it out sometime. So I think we're going to stick around after the presentation here for any other questions. Yes, you have a question? Okay. Oh, that's a great question. We have a bison auction once a year to thin the herd. It is November the 2nd this year. Okay, November the 2nd, and it's open to the public. You can come out and be a part of it, whether you're buying or not. Okay, that's another great question. A couple years ago, the observation tower was taken down due to safety precautions. They are predicting and hoping that it will be up again within the next 2 years. It is going to look a lot different. The bottom half is going to be handicap accessible, so you'll be able to even put a wheelchair or a walker or whatever on the bottom half, and then there's going to be in the middle, it's going to go up about 20 feet. The old observation tower was about 40 feet tall. So next 2 years, that's because they have a limited amount of people, of employees. So they're trying to get there as soon as they can. And the Friends group has actually pushed that. We've been trying to get them to move a little faster with that, but they're trying. Any other questions? Well, thanks again for having us out. And like I said, we're going to stick around. We have some of these cards to hand out to you guys that are on the screen here, if you guys are interested. And it has our address and our email and phone number, multiple ways to get a hold of us. And if you guys are wanting to send donations, they are very much appreciated. And volunteering is very much appreciated also. Thank you so much for having us today.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to be back right about 10. Our second presenter's from Ottawa, Kansas, and she called me this morning about 7:45. She says, the fog is so bad I cannot see. So she waited a while, and she did call me, and she told me she is on her way. So we may be a little bit late for the second one, but we wanted her to be safe. So we should be back right around 9, but we'll see what happens. Thanks.
East Africa, the other places are